let's
Yeah.
go sentence by sentence then.
Okay.
So go ahead, you walk me through it. So sentence one,
Okay,
what
sentence
is it
one.
doing?
That's just, I think, like setting up like background information on like why this argument is like why this person's even making this point. Like we have these
Exactly.
two things, there's going to be
Exactly.
something that differentiates them.
Perfect. Yeah. First sentence, intro. Boom. Nice.
An obligation to the government is different from any of these. Okay, so I think my first instinct would be this is the conclusion because
Aha.
it's stating like it's different than anything else.
Gotcha.
So then if I keep reading,
Aha.
saying like when you have an obligation to the government, that obligation is encoded in law. So that's just like starting up like why it's different.
Ah,
Um,
nice. Very good. Very good. Very
yeah.
good. Keep on going. I
Okay.
love this.
If you break a law, representatives of the government can try to force you to do what the law demands. So it's just like
Aha.
furthering that support for like why it's different.
Exactly. I love
And
that.
then
Yes.
okay, and then the legal right to evade the use of force makes the government different from all their institutions. So to
Aha.
me, I feel
Aha.
like I'd be like, okay, that's an intermediary conclusion that supports the main conclusion, but I feel
I
like
love.
I don't know if it's like the other way or not.
Oh, so you are kind of sure, but not too sure, essentially, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I
so
think
let's
like
just
I
say
get
we're
tripped up.
stuck between these two,
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially. Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to give you one more hint that will allow you to essentially distill it down to that one choice. Okay, which is what you need to do on the exam. You can't have
Yeah,
two answers. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So, you are right that, okay, let me not give you the answer just yet. Basically, what's happening here is that the conclusion, usually the real conclusion, needs to be the most broad one, okay? The most
Okay.
general one. The more specific things get, the lesser the chances of that being your conclusion. So remember that. If a sentence starts with, for example, if this, then that, or like some people have claimed something, or you feel like it's an explanation or evidence, those are typically not the conclusions. Conclusion has to be an opinion or one blunt statement, usually.
Okay.
It is one direct, blunt statement as to what things are and what's going on. So remember that as well.
Okay.
Okay. Just when you're confused about, like, okay, so I know what supports what, conclusion is the sentence being supported. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
But then the last sentence is also kind of being supported essentially, right? By the one
Hmm.
that comes before it. So that's a confusion point there. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
which one of those two sentences do you think is going to be the most broad conclusion?
It feels like the second sentence is the most broad.
Okay, so this one, the legal right to initiate. Oh, sorry, no, no, this
Oh,
one,
yeah,
obligation to
obligation to the
the.
government. Yeah.
Ah, I
And it
love that.
kind of feels like
Exactly.
the way that my brain thinks about it too is like, see, I get really tripped, as you'll probably see, like, as we go through these, like, I get very tripped up on like when there's like an intermediary conclusion that supports it. But I guess like when I do read this slowly and like actually talk it through and think about it, it does feel like even though there's like that secondary conclusion, it doesn't feel like the even like when it's the first sentence, the leading into it, it's saying like there's obligations that are informal to people and institutions. So like it doesn't feel like the way that it's being set up is to talk about like the use of force to differentiate governments. It's like the whole point is like there's differentiation between obligations.
Exactly. I love that. Yes, yes. See, your brain unconsciously already made that connection. So that's very, very good. And sometimes you should also just trust your intuition.
Yeah.
You only do this stuff if your intuition is not that strong or it's leading you in the wrong direction, kind of thing, right? Then you utilize mechanics. And this is what I call mechanics, essentially, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right? So my last bit here that is going to help you. And the thing, Morgan, is that when we teach you this, we want you to basically accurately get the correct answer choice 99% of the time, right?
Yeah.
To do that, this is the skill. This is what I'm talking about when I say this is a new skill set. And that's what differentiates 170 plus scorers from like 150 scorers or
Yeah.
155, whatever. That is the skill in the sense that they have literally studied for this in a certain way, right? And now they have a method that gets them the correct answers. That doesn't mean it's a shortcut or it's some sort of a weird robotic.
Yeah.
No, no, no. And that also certainly doesn't mean they don't understand what they're reading and they're just eliminating things. No, no, not at all, right? So, my last bit here And so your, I love your answer. I absolutely love your answer. This is the more broad conclusion,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, it's mostly talking about how this is different than other things, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, the last test that you can utilize here is if you read the first sentence to yourself and then put a so and comma after to go to this, you'll notice that something doesn't make sense there. But if you go the other way around, and we'll do that together now. So,
Okay.
let me do it. So the legal right to initiate the use of force makes the government different from all other institutions. So an obligation to the government is different from any of these. This makes more sense than, now listen to this. An obligation to the government is different from any of these. So the legal right to initiate the use of force makes the government different from all other institutions.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So like, okay. Okay, because like one is
E-
more like a supporting conclusion and the
yes,
other way it's like it doesn't make sense. Like the argument doesn't follow. Doesn't follow
exactly.
if you do it the other way around.
Exactly. The argument
That
goes
is
in a
such a good
different
way to
direction.
look at it. That is such a good way to look at it.
Yeah, the argument goes in a different direction, basically, when
Yeah,
we do
yeah,
that, right? We
yeah.
don't want it to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
It
Oh, that
still
makes so much
makes
sense.
sense, yeah, but it's just not it. It's really
Yeah.
not it. But so, yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I'm going to leave you. So now, once you figure that out, that's 80% of your time. You basically label it. You don't have to do it all the time, but when you're practicing, you can, right? No one's preventing you from doing that. Once you label that, and once you're kind of sure that's your conclusion, then you go to the answer choices. This is the only time you look at the answer choices, okay? Before that, do not look because it's not useful. You don't want to eliminate on the LSAT unless if it's an inference question, which we'll look at now. Okay, so
I would guess A on this one.
yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
my God.
You don't have to guess
Literally,
anything, right?
the way that you've explained this is like exactly how my brain works. Like,
That's perfect.
especially, I love that you have spoken about intuition
Yeah,
because I feel like a big piece for me was like when I'm doing a question like this, I would read it and like get the point, but it felt like if this makes sense, like I would have gone through this and been like, okay, I need to write the conclusion and why, but then I would be hung up on like, oh shit, there's two conclusions. Like, what am I supposed to write here? And then I would get very muddled as like, what is the point? Whereas like just reading it and like logically being like, if I'm making an argument, like the argument that's being made is a lot clearer when you're just like reading it as like this is common, like you're just talking to a person versus like trying to methodically write down everything when it's like intuition should just like carry some weight in my opinion, at least in these
absolutely.
ones.
It's a skill, Morgan. That's why it's a skill in the sense that when you learn a skill, close to mastering a skill, intuition does most of the work.
Yes.
Think about very, for example, talented electricians or plumbers or people like that, right? When they come to your home, sometimes, actually, I've asked them before, I'm like, how did you know? Like, you just went directly into that because there were 10 things that I was trying to look for, but you came in and he's like, oh, buddy, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. It's
Yeah.
just, I could feel that's the problem. Like, feel it? You can feel plumbing? What the
Yeah,
hell?
that's
You
crazy.
know?
It's like
Yeah.
plumbing.
So there you go, right? I mean, that intuition becomes we don't have like you may not have it fully developed yet, although
Yeah.
you do have it for certain question types, and just trust it most of the time. It's if something screams at you from the screen or from the page, it jumps at you, that is the answer. I mean, there's no other way, okay?
Yeah, and like looking at
Um,
the answer choices, like after we talked it through that way, there was no way that any of the other ones could have been the right choice. But I know
Absolutely not.
myself and I know how I would have looked at this on the actual LSAT and the way I would have approached it, I can guarantee I would have ended up with the wrong answer.
Well, not let's not guarantee
Okay, I can like
it.
50-50 probably
Yeah,
would have been wrong. And I think the reason why too, and I'm a very big like understand why I do things, trying to like
good. Very
unpack
good.
my own
I love
thought
that.
process.
I love
And
that.
I feel like a big reason why is because the strategies that I was using were very much like, if you do this, you will be guaranteed to get the answer. And I never felt like I built up the like fundamental like skill, like you said, intuition. Like it was very much like, do this way, you will get it right. And it wasn't working for me. And this, the way you
Mm.
explained this made so much more sense than like anything else I was doing.
I'm glad. I'm very glad, Morgan. And I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to treat this robotically, like I said, because it's not even going to be fun. You want to get some fulfillment and pleasure out of this too when you get things right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So You might as well just have fun while studying for it and feel smarter.
Yeah, yeah, not
Okay.
dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
want to feel smarter.
All right, so if you look at the other choices, you'll notice that every sentence in this passage is displayed. I love that cup, by the way, is displayed here.
Thank you.
So you'll notice that this is how they trick you, right? They basically use
Yeah,
every other sentence, maybe slightly change it up a little bit. So if you go wrong here, right, this is the first part. If you go wrong here, then you're guaranteed to get the wrong answer, essentially, right?
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
label this as the correct conclusion, then you're guaranteed you're gonna get C, the legal right to use, initiate the use. See, it's the same exact sentence. Look, the legal right to initiate the use of force makes the government different from.
Oh my
Yep,
God, yeah. It's the
it's the
exact same
exact, yeah.
sentence.
So they try to.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and A is like a slightly reworded variation of the second sentence. So like if you're iffy, you'd be like, "Oh, I don't like
Correct.
see that exact thing." And there are
100%.
a lot of questions like that.
100% Morgan. And A is basically what I labeled. It's the same thing, except that it just opened it up a little bit because here
Yeah.
it uses a pronouns, right? Pronoun says the pronoun used here is these, right?
Yeah.
Pronouns define things that come before them, right? These,
Yeah.
those, this, that, right? So basically they just unpacked these, which refer to other people and institutions. So A still is the same exact. And this is why I say with conclusion or role of a sentence question, remember that the exact answer is within the passage. Do
Yeah.
not try to summarize anything, please. That's a waste of time.
Yes. Okay. Okay. All
Perfect.
right.
All right,
This makes a
awesome.
ton of sense.
Okay, wonderful. So now we're going to move on from this. So I just want to bring this up because, everything else that comes after it is going to be reliant on you being able, like it's contingent on you being able to find
Yeah.
the correct conclusion. Awesome. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got, and by the way, if you have seen any of these questions, let me know.